The first time I ever cooked with a copper pan, I freaked out. It wasn't because of the performance, it was awesome. It was what happened to it after it met the heat. It went from looking like this to this. I totally thought I had just ruined my brand new pan, but you know what? Nothing of the sort. That is a totally normal phenomenon, and it is really easy to get your pan looking like new again. Today I'm going to share 2 really simple tips of how to make your copper pans shine like new. Before I get into the cleaning, you may be wondering about copper pans, and if you don't have one or you're thinking about buying one, here's a really quick crash course on copper pans. So copper pans are expensive. They tend to cost more than like stainless steel or aluminum pans. That's because they have this really nice and pricier copper external coating. Copper is a really great metal because it's an excellent conductor. That's why wires are made out of copper, and with that same benefit in mind, that's why some of the nicer pans are made out of copper. It just conducts heat really well, and it's really quick to react. That means when you raise the heat, it gets hotter faster. When you lower the heat, it's quick to crank down the temperature as well. Now, it should be noted, when we're talking about copper pans, we're just talking about the outside. As you can see, the inside of a copper pan is not copper at all. In this case, it's stainless steel, and that's pretty much the norm. In fact, you wouldn't want the whole pan to be made out of copper, because copper actually can cause toxicity in food when you cook with it. So this is a good thing and totally normal. So just keep that in mind when we're talking about copper pans. It's just the outside that's copper, or possibly a layer within the pan. That way it can provide all the great heat conductivity that we want, but without any of the toxicity of cooking food directly on a copper surface. So there's no denying that copper pans are absolutely beautiful, and if you look at like a really nice restaurant kitchen, you might see copper pans lining the shelves, and they're really great aesthetically in even a home kitchen. But the issue with copper is that if you're using a flame, it discolors. And this is the lesson that I found out the hard way the first time I used a copper stove on a gas range. As soon as those flames started licking the sides of the pan, the whole thing got discolored. And I was thinking, what is going on? So I just cooked up a meal of pan-steamed asparagus and fried up some sausage. And this is the result of just cooking those 2 items. As you can see, the pan is discolored, and this happens when a copper pan meets that high heat, that high gas flame. Now, this may be worrisome at first, especially if this is your first time cooking with a copper pan, but this discoloration is totally normal, and it's just what happens when flame meets copper. So the first way to clean a copper pan and get that shine back is with this stuff. If you've never heard of this, this is called Barkeeper's Friend. Years ago when I bought this pan, the clerk at the store told me to get a bottle of this to go with it, and I can see why. Now, this isn't a sponsorship or anything like that. I just use this stuff because it works. And this stuff really is incredible with making copper shine like new again. Here, let me show you. So here's how to clean a copper pan with Barkeeper's Friend. What I like to do is just kind of wet the pan here, and I'm just using a normal sponge, and then I like to just sprinkle. This is a powder. I just like to sprinkle it all over the pan. They also make this in liquid form, but I think the powder works just fine. And as you can see, it is already starting to polish it. I haven't even touched it with the sponge yet, but here we go. And as you can see, it is just making this guy shine all over again. And if there's some trouble spots, you can also just add more. And then if you want to create a paste, you can just run a little bit of water and shine it up. And see, this is just starting to look just like new again. And once it's clean, I just like to run some water right on over. And I'll mention that Barkeeper's Friend also works phenomenally well on the inside of a pan too. It is really also known for making stainless steel just shine again like new as well. So in this case, it does wonders on both the inside and outside of a pan. Now, the second way to clean a copper pan is almost as magical, and it's even cheaper. Barkeeper's Friend doesn't cost much, but this second way costs even less. And that is using plain old vinegar and salt. I know, somebody told me about this and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, really? Salt and vinegar can make a copper pan shine? Yes, it can. Let me show you. So what I'm going to do is pour just some salt on a sponge here and some vinegar. And look at this. Incredibly, it just shines it right up. Salt and vinegar is making this copper pan shine once again. Now, just like with Barkeeper's Friend, we'll give it a nice rinse. Rinse everything off. Look at that. Back to new. And voila, with either of those methods, we now have a beautiful, shiny copper pan. Now, I should say you don't have to do this. If your copper pan is discolored, that's not going to affect the cooking at all. That's just what happens. And truth be told, I don't polish my pan after every use. You can let it build up that patina, and maybe you might even like that. It gives it that worn look. But it's really nice to know that if you do want to make your copper shine like new again, those are just two easy ways to make it happen. Guys, I hope you found this helpful, and if you have a copper pan or you're thinking of buying one, now you have another resource. As always, thanks for watching. If there's any recipes that you want to learn how to cook or any questions you have about the kitchen, guys, there is absolutely no shame on this channel. No question is too simple. So if there's something you've always been wondering about, ask me. I did years of training in a culinary school, and if there's something I don't know, I'll research it and find out, okay? So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on I Wanna Cook.